Guys, shalom and God bless you all. This is Raj Sahu at your service. Today we will be examining how Jesus says, why did Jesus says that I've not come to abolish the law, but to fulfill the law, right? He says that on the Sermon on the Mount. We probably heard people, that was his first major address, his teaching in the Bible was the Sermon on the Mount. And it appears in the book of Matthew, the Gospel of Matthew. So, guys, he says that I have not come to abolish the law. Do not think I've come to abolish the law, but to fulfill it. And I believe this is in Matthew 5:17 and 18. And then he proceeds to say that unless the heavens and earth, until that depart, the law cannot go. Because it's an eternal law, guys. We were lied to by a false apostle, and the churches seem to tag him, follow him, the false apostle Paul, rather than Christ. Okay, the proof is in this, hopefully a 3-minute video. The proof is that he taught us how he fulfilled it versus what Paul says. That was, of course, high heresy against the high treason against the Father when he says that the law stands abolished. He says very clearly in Ephesians 2:15, and he blames Jesus to that he abolished. Now you just heard that Jesus says in Matthew 5:17-18, I have not come to abolish the law but to fulfill it. Today we will, and of course the Antichrist Paul said the opposite, that he has come to abolish the eternal law of God. Read Psalms 111 if you want a confirmation. It's an eternal forever and ever law. That's why Jesus says the universe has to go before my Father's law can go. Matthew 5:17-18. But now we will see how he says, which is of highest importance, how do we fulfill the law, the requirement. Here goes, guys. I don't know why it was so hard to see. It is so easy, a 6th, 7th grader should be able to understand. Jesus was asked once by the Pharisees, Lord, which is the, or Rabbi, which is the great commandment or the greatest commandment, as some versions say. So Jesus replies to them, the greatest commandment is this, and this is from Matthew 22:37-40. The greatest commandment is this: love your God with all your heart, with all your might, with all your soul. This is the first and the greatest command. Here, guys, with rapt attention, what Jesus is saying. So learn, love your Father with all your heart, might, and soul. This is the greatest command, and which is from Deuteronomy. And the second one he says is from, which was from Leviticus. Love your enemy. I beg your pardon. Love your neighbor as yourself. Love your enemy, he says in Sermon on the Mount again, but we won't go to that. That's in 5:43-46. So he says, love God with all your heart, might, and soul in Deuteronomy. And the second greatest commandment is love your neighbor as yourself. And you know what he says? Please pay attention. For this is the essence of the law and the teachings of the prophets. Do you have any doubts, guys, now? Why is he saying love God, love others? Because in Luke 10:25-36, he explained to us the neighbor could be anybody. You be a good neighbor to others. Anybody and everybody. So love God with all your heart, might, and soul, and love others was the fulfillment of the law. If you distill it further, the catchword, the buzzword here is loving kindness. That's why he gave the story of the Good Samaritan. Samaritans were rebellious Jews who had incorporated some pagan teachings also. So the Jews didn't talk, but Jesus held him high in the Good Samaritan story, Luke 10:25-34, because he went out of the way to help others and practice loving compassion. And therefore, the fulfillment of the law took place there. And that is why Jesus is telling us, love God, love others, and you have obeyed the law. Any problems, any doubts, guys? Like in India, we say, koi shak? Any doubts? No, there shouldn't be. But he wanted confirmation, Matthew 7:12. What does he say in Matthew 7:12? Do to others as you would want them to do to you. Do to others as you would want them to do to you For this is the law and the prophets. You have a confirmation. It's like, do to others. What do you want others to do to you? Think about it. Love, respect, kindness, right? So he says, you practice that. That's very important, guys. So we have a confirmation: love God, love others. Love God, love others. That was the completion and fulfillment of the law. But it won't go anywhere. It's like now you are good with God because you're keeping His law through practicing loving compassion. What are the 10 commandments? First four are love God. What are the next six? Love your neighbor or others. It's the same thing. Jesus was a brilliant teacher, and the true Son of God, the true words of God came out of his mouth. And now I'll take you the final day judgment scenario, which is a clinching evidence. Revelation 20:11-15 says, books will be opened on the day of judgment, and people will get what they had done. Each person will get. So it depends on works. There's nothing called grace. There is nothing called faith. Grace, faith is good as long as it serves the purpose of fruitful life, of obedience. Love God, love others is the final obedience of the law and teachings of the prophets. 2000 years people didn't realize when it is under our nose in the Bible. And here is the last day verdict of Jesus sitting on the throne. He is the Supreme Court of the Father. He is the authorized person. All authority has been given to him on heaven and earth. Everything lies with him now because of what he did on the cross. Check out the last passage of Isaiah 53 and the last words of Matthew 20, book of Matthew, Gospel of Matthew 28, 18-20. All authority has been given to him. Now he's sitting there with that authority to judge everybody. Where's that? Matthew 25, 31, 46. I'll shorten that, condense it for you. What did he do? To save others, to save everybody, or he condemned a lot of people on that day. Based on what? That's a big revelation. What criteria will our Lord use? You know what did he use? Works, which a no-brainer throughout its obedience. Why do you call me Lord, Lord, and do not do what I command you? So what he taught, he used what? Love God, love all, in the sense that only those, when he divided all people, Matthew 25, 31, 46, clearly tells us, depicts a story, a vision of what will happen on the day of judgment. He's a good Lord and a good judge. He's giving us a heads up. What's he going to use? And that's what he used. What did he say? He will divide people into two groups. One will be the goats will be on his left and the sheep will be on the right. Sheep were saved, goats were condemned. Goats did not have works of loving kindness, and the right, the sheep on the right, the group of people who went out of the way like the good Samaritans and practiced loving compassion even with strangers, were saved. And they were also called righteous. Remember, the land of God belongs only to the righteous. There is a lot there, and there is a lot in this video. I have connected the dots for you. This is how it's going to play out on the day of judgment. The ones who practice loving compassion unconditionally, because they would get nothing from the poor people who they helped, loved, gave them something to eat, drink. He said, whatever you've given to them, you've given to me. Jesus alludes that to that. And in other words, only the good Samaritans were saved and will be saved, guys, because their heart is now welling with love for God and with other people. So that was the story of Bible. Unfortunately, it wasn't taught, but you have it. Please share it. Please subscribe this channel. I'm showing a lot of nuggets of Christ through using AI to show exactly what he says, exactly from the Bible. So I'm nowhere in the picture in case you don't want to see me and hear me. Hear the Lord. And I bless you all abundantly so that your life may be filled with Christ and his wisdom. God bless you and his love. Bless you all.